It's a shame. It's really a shame that we've come to this.
Let's show the polar opposites in Hall of Famer Brett Favre. First on the media, Favre cozies up with Tucker Carlson and the Daily Wire.
You, the press, have a very special responsibility, and that is to be a mirror for us to see ourselves, our communities, our country, and of course the rest of the world, and I truly respect the role that you play in our system.
And hip-hop star Ludacris. While Ludacris values a free and honest press.
I'm kind of old school. I think, you play, you get paid a ton of money to do a certain job, and just do it and let the chips fall where they may. I think we make too much money to voice an opinion.
Favre is a big proponent of staying in your respective lane and not ruffling feathers as a celebrity.
America has a great promise, but to me, it's a promise that's unfulfilled. Not everyone gets an equal chance at it, and some never get a chance at all. Not everyone believes that tomorrow can be better than today, or that the promise is even meant for them at all. Now, it's not right with all of our resources, every citizen is not afforded the opportunity to be the best that they can be if they want. And it was once said to treat people as if they were what they ought to be, and you help them become what they are capable of being. That is a promise fulfilled, in my opinion.
While Ludacris calls out the systems in place that have not made life easier in this country.
NFL Hall of Famer Brett Favre is facing questions tonight of whether he knowingly took $5 million of state welfare money to build a new volleyball facility for his daughter's team 5 years ago at her university and his alma mater.
The contrasting subjects show the two Americas we truly live in, with these allegations of Favre taking money from the poorest in the entire country.
Our communities need fixing. Our systems are badly broken. We can't wait on the government, the institutions, social programming, and policies alone to fix our communities. We have to look at other sources. In today's world, we have new issues and new challenges. The old way of looking at these issues and challenges have not rendered the outcomes that I feel we want. Trust bonds have been broken. Logical thinking, while necessary, is not sufficient. We need lateral thinking. And by that, I mean thinking outside our current frame of reference. We need a new type of leadership. But currently, people are looking in a different direction for philanthropic leadership. There's a call for everyday people to take leadership role within philanthropy in order to help the communities in which they work and live.
And Ludacris exposing the shortcomings while doing his part to mitigate unwarranted circumstances in society.
One message indicates he knew it was shady. If you were to pay me, is there any way the media can find out where it came from and how much, he asked.
The governor responded to Favre's request. Use of these funds is tightly controlled. Any improper use could result in violation of federal law. The former governor wrote him, "I am too old for federal prison."
If the allegations are true, this is not what leadership looks like.
So when I sit here and say that we always wish that we can do more, I honestly say that. And I feel like with more power and more influence, and the more that I do, the more that I can give back. And the reason that I'm up here today is just to let everybody know that I try to lead by example, in that I feel like I have a certain amount of power and influence. I feel like that there are others that have more power and influence than I have, and there are some that may not feel as if they have as much power and influence as I have, but that doesn't mean that they can't do their part in giving back.
This, my friends, is what it looks like.
The former Green Bay Packers legend is accused of being part of a scheme that funneled welfare funds to him and projects where he had a vested interest. However, Favre is not alone, as the state's largest ever public corruption case involves the misappropriation of more than $77 million intended for the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program.
Kudos to Sports Illustrated and Robin Lundberg here.
This period in our history should be a time of reflection for all of us to appreciate what we have and what we have given to those in need of our help. The task is not so much to see what no one yet has seen, but to think what no one yet has thought about that which everybody sees. We have to have a paradigm shift regarding issues and possible solutions. And I shouldn't have to tell you all that because you know it.
Amen to this here as well.
Me and Deanna have been blessed with a wonderful material things because of what I've done. But we tried to stay extremely grounded.
There was a period, clearly, where powerful people were benefiting from TANF funds here in the state of Mississippi. The first time that I knew that Brett Favre had some sort of intersection with our investigation was when an investigator walked into my office and he said, "I need you to watch this video."
State Auditor Shad White led the investigation.
It was a video of Mr. Favre promoting Prevacus's product, which was a nasal spray that was designed to prevent concussions. And my first question was, what does this have to do with welfare money? And the investigator's answer was exactly, what does it have to do with welfare money?
Again, if the allegations are true, this is called gaming the system.
The call for new philanthropic leadership is also a call for new relationships of trust. Understanding these communities in need and garnering their trust and the trust of donors that their contributions will make a direct and positive impact is extremely important to me. Now, I take the responsibility of leadership and giving back very seriously, as you can tell. I have a deep-rooted tradition of service that has only broadened with my celebrity status. As I have more, I will try to do more, as I've said before. I mention these things not to pat myself on the back or brag, but to underscore the responsibility I feel like we all have to turn back, to reach back, and give back to our communities.
On the other hand, Ludacris is giving a lesson in philanthropy.
For those of you who are devastated, time will heal.
But the state was dispersing millions more of its welfare dollars, just not to families that urgently needed it.
In court documents and audit reports, the state alleges that the head of Mississippi's welfare agency squandered more than $70 million intended for children in poverty, instead using it as a private slush fund to benefit his family and friends.
Tens of millions of dollars on items like hiring retired pro wrestlers, first-class air travel, a horse ranch, and $5 million to build this women's volleyball facility at the University of Southern Mississippi.
It is, to date, one of the most devastating cases in the state's history.
I don't just cut the checks and I tell everybody else to do the work for me. I'm there personally to make sure I know exactly where not only my money, but anybody who donates money, their money is going. And that's extremely important to me. As a result, I'm gonna give you an example. As a result of Hurricane Katrina's devastation, approximately over 20,000 families were relocated or migrated to the city of Atlanta. And I, along with my foundation, my mother, and Ebony Sun Entertainment, donated over $100,000 in support of families victimized by the hurricane. The team provided, we provided housing, we provided housing assistance, we provided counseling assistance, we provided job referral assistance to 15 impacted families relocated to the Atlanta area. Each of these 15 families received 4 months of free rent, free furnished housing, a refrigerator full of food, clothing, toiletries, linens, all because not only did we dedicate our own supplies to these people, but we partnered up with the local radio station to ask the rest of the city of Atlanta to come and donate things that they don't need and that they would be willing to help out with.
Meanwhile, Chris Bridges is helping those in need on his own time, something more localities should try and model after.
I think that the days of I wake up, I do what I'm supposed to do, I do the right thing, I go to work, I'm hard work, I pay my taxes, and I expect that everyone else does the same thing, and we just live in harmony.
These new court documents filed by Bryant's attorneys allege Favre and former nonprofit director Nancy New, who has already pleaded guilty to fraud in the $77 million scheme, were requesting funds from the Mississippi Department of Human Services to build a facility.
Leadership and education is preparing everyone and all the youth to be successful with an emphasis on why education matters in making a lifelong difference. But not only education, but educating yourself. Luda cares, ensuring that communities and its residents know that we care about them. I feel like I do that by, leading by example and continuing to go to these communities, because if I weren't there, they wouldn't know that, how much we care about them. Living healthy lifestyles. As I said, this is geared towards youth to learn about healthy eating, to address issues like nutritional health and childhood obesity, provide preventative health services and education to underserved youth. We help young people achieve their dreams through the encouragement of the principles of success. We aim to show young people in America they are the builders of their own future. And it's not necessarily the cards that they're dealt, but how they play their cards.
This is a massive fraud allegation, not just with him, but it is the biggest alleged welfare scam in Mississippi's history.
As this has just been unfolding, the main players of this scheme, namely Bill Bryant and Brett Favre, have sort of tried to make excuses for their involvement.
Now, to give you another example, 2 weeks ago, we raised over $100,000 to support flood survivors in the Atlanta area. T.I., who was another rapper, and myself, we reached out to our friends in the hip-hop entertainment community for help. And I know a lot of people, they like to criticize the hip-hop community, but let me tell you exactly what the hip-hop community did within 1 hour of myself and T.I. reaching out to them to help our community. First of all, I donated $10,000. T.I. donated $10,000, and this is from, he's actually incarcerated at the time, and he still donated $10,000 towards the cause because he feels just as important about giving back to his community as I do. And then we turned to friends and colleagues for help, and they didn't hesitate. We made over $80,000 in 8 hours from the hip-hop community, and it's as simple as that.
Maybe the first thing that we talked about in this cancel culture was Dr. Seuss. I mean, are you kidding me?
Now, Favre is currently embroiled in a controversy involving the use of federal welfare funds set aside for the state of Mississippi's most vulnerable residents, which were reportedly diverted to Favre and others.
To me, this is the new philanthropy that I'm talking about. Operating as an organization at the community level day to day. It's not your typical corporate institutional giving, just a group of like-minded individuals pooling their efforts to make a difference, changing the social landscape one frame at a time. Secondly, because there are new challenges in education, as we all know. There are new challenges in healthcare, as we all know, and other deep social issues that affect our youth, families, and communities. Now, I feel like we have to approach these challenges with a new language, a form of communication that everyone knows about, a new technological platform, and a broader view of community and globalism. Social networks and digital platforms are critical to reaching donors and communicating with constituents.
Before we get into it, if there are any stories we missed, if there are any that you would like to submit, get at me and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. DMs are open. Please, if y'all can, become a channel member here to support us, and or go to tyt.com/join. I just find it rather interesting. And first, let me plug, to help out Ludacris and his foundation, go to theludacrisfoundation.org. I find it very interesting that I see a man going up in front of the National Press Club, and this being broadcasted on C-SPAN, talking about how he is in the trenches, 3 fingers in the dirt, doing everything he can to help out his community and others outside of his community. And yet we have these allegations against someone who is a Pro Football Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, and has, according to many documents, text messages, and kudos to the work of Anna Wolf, Mississippi Today, the Mississippi Free Press, and many others who have boots on the ground locally, for exposing this, and how intertwined so many entities are in this scandal. How some have decided to funnel money from, according to The Athletic this is, their charities, Far for Hope, in order to build a different volleyball facility, or befriending those in positions of power who run different localities to then funnel that money, according to the reporting, into building a volleyball facility, lockers, beach volleyball, what have you. It's rather odd because, as I have seen it over time, one, by right-wing media, has been painted as a villain and as a problem child, and the other as the all-American story.